Trump ally in Europe just dropped the hammer on George Soros, liberals in shock. No American politician has the intestinal fortitude like that of the United Kingdom's Nigel Farage, leader of the Brexit movement and a UKIP member of the European Parliament, MEP. There is no U.S. lawmaker brave enough to stand in a lion's den of hatred and call people corrupt to their faces. Absolutely. We want our country back. Vote to leave. Farage just did that during a debate into the stowing away of billions of euros offshore in secret accounts that was exposed by the International Consortium of Investigative Journalism, a disclosure known as the Paradise Papers. It seems that leftist globalist crowd is using the same playbook on both sides of the pond, with Farage saying that an opposition member in the House of Commons put forth the claim that those in the Leave the EU camp had received offshore money from Russia, reports the UK Express. The member making the charge, Ben Bradshaw, is on record as having accepted money from George Soros' Open Society. Russian collusion, but this time in the UK. Farage, who faced heckles at times, spoke before the EU Parliament and said, "I just wonder, when we're talking about offshore money, when we're talking about political subversion, when we're talking about collusion, I wonder whether we're looking in the wrong place." And I say that because George Soros recently gave Open Society, his organization, which campaigns for free movement of people and supports supranational structures like the European Union, $18 billion, calling it the biggest level of international political collusion in history. Farage said he would be sending 226 members of the parliament a letter asking them if they have ever received money from the Open Society or Soros directly, and also asking how many events sponsored by these same two entities have members attended. Why only 226 members out of 751, Farage explains. Open Society boasts that they had 42 meetings last year with the European Commission. They've even published a book of reliable friends in the European Parliament, and there are 226 names on that list. In a gutsy move, Farage even pointed out one of the hecklers in the Parliament and told him his name was on the list. While the UKIP star spoke, the camera recorded EU members smirking and laughing with such arrogance that it seems straight out of a movie. The globalist elite are so comfortable in their corruption that they guffaw at truth. Evil is alive and well, and it is up to the people like President Trump and Nigel Farage to take them on. Their success depends on our support. George Soros has spent billions in the EU to undermine the nation state. This is where the real international political collusion is.
Mr. Farage, 2.5 minutes.
Thank you. As Mr. Scavici said at the start of this, the leak of all these papers and lists of people with offshore holdings has come about because of the Society of Investigative Journalists. But what's not been said this morning, and I think is relevant, is that the funding of these investigations came from one George Soros. Now, I say this at a time, I'm going to come back to so what, and it may have some personal interest for you as well. I say this at a time when the use of money and the influence it may have had on the Brexit result or the Trump election has reached a level of virtual hysteria. Just last week, the Electoral Commission in the UK launched an investigation to find out whether the Leave campaign took offshore money or Russian money. This came about as a result of questions asked in the House of Commons by one Ben Bradshaw, somebody linked to an organisation called Open Society. I just wonder, when we're talking about offshore money, when we're talking about political subversion, when we're talking about collusion, I wonder whether we're looking in the wrong place. And I say that because George Soros recently gave Open Society, his organisation, which of course campaigns for free movement of peoples and supports supranational structures like the European Union, he recently gave it $18 billion. And his influence here and in Brussels is truly extraordinary. Open Society boast that they had 42 meetings last year with the European Commission. They've even published a book of reliable friends in the European Parliament. And there are 226 names on that list, including yours, sir. I thought you'd find this interesting. We even had last week Mr. Verhofstadt lobbying on behalf of Mr. Soros at the Conference of Presidents in a battle that is going on with Viktor Orban, the Prime Minister of Hungary. If we're going to have a debate, and we're going to talk about full political and financial transparency, well, let's do it. So I should be writing today to all 226 of you, asking some pretty fair questions. Have you ever received funds, directly or indirectly, from Open Society? How many of their events have you attended? Could you please give us a list of the meetings of all the representatives, including George Soros yourself? And I think this Parliament should now set up a special committee to look into all of this. And I say that because I fear we could be looking at the biggest level of international political collusion in history.
So true. So true. Yeah, well, it's very true. Let me know what you guys think in the comments below. And again, thank you so much for watching.